When I turned 25, my parents still thought I was the same spoiled rich kid they raised. Mom loved control, the kind of woman who'd track my every expense, every date, every meal. Money doesn't grow on trees. Nathan? She'd say, sipping champagne in the living room of our $12 million mansion. The irony? It did, for them. My grandfather built an empire from oil, and when he passed, he left behind a trust fund large enough to fuel 5 generations. But my parents treated me like the family embarrassment. I wasn't into luxury cars or country clubs. I liked numbers, data, and coding. So I studied finance quietly while they flaunted wealth I secretly managed. 3 years ago, Grandpa's estate lawyers asked me to help oversee the family trust's digital transition. Mom thought I was interning. In reality, I became the trust fund's manager. Every transaction, every investment, every dollar, I saw it before they did, and I had power they didn't even realize. Then last year, Mom got angry because I refused to attend her philanthropy gala, a night of fake smiles and real gossip. She called the next morning. "We're cutting off your allowance until you learn responsibility," she snapped. I just said, "Sure, Mom," and hung up. Because I already knew what she didn't. There was no allowance anymore. The accounts she used were under the trust's automated budget I controlled. For the next month, I let her play her little game. She bragged to friends that she'd finally taught her son a lesson. Meanwhile, I quietly froze their luxury expense accounts, citing audit irregularities. Her first meltdown came when her Amex Black got declined at her favorite boutique. Then Dad called, furious, "Son, your mother's card isn't working. Fix it immediately." I smiled. "Sorry, Dad, the system flagged some suspicious spending," he huffed. "Do you know who you're talking to?" "Yes," I said calmly. "To someone who should have read the trust bylaws before trying to cut off the trust manager's access." Silence. Then the line went dead. 2 hours later, I got a call from the family attorney. Apparently, Mom had just discovered the truth, that I wasn't just an employee, but the primary trustee appointed by Grandpa himself. And according to the terms, if any family member tried to manipulate or misuse funds, their privileges could be suspended pending review. Guess who triggered that clause? Mom called me crying that evening. "Nathan, sweetheart, this must be a misunderstanding." I almost felt bad. Almost. "Mom," I said, "you told me I needed to learn responsibility. I think I just did. For 6 months, I kept her on a strict trust review, during which she couldn't touch a cent of the fund. They had to sell one of their beach homes just to maintain their image. Meanwhile, I reinvested the trust money into green tech startups and community housing, things Grandpa would have actually supported. When the audit ended, I invited them to a family meeting at the lawyer's office. They walked in furious. I was calm. "Here's the report," I said, sliding the papers across the table. "The fund's grown by 17% this year. You're welcome." Mom tried to lecture me again, but I cut her off gently. "From now on, I decide disbursements. You can make requests, but no more allowance. We're all adults here." Her eyes went cold. "You ungrateful child." "No," I said, standing up. "Just someone you underestimated." Now I live quietly in a penthouse they don't know about, still managing their fortune, just differently. Mom's learned not to threaten to cut me off anymore. Because now, every dollar they spend still runs through me. And every time she swipes her card, she remembers the son she tried to control is the one keeping her world running.